So, you ever stop and think about what it actually takes to run a behemoth like Google? We're going to peel back the layers on the insane global infrastructure that makes it all tick. And the really cool part, we'll show you how you can get your hands on that same power for whatever you're building. Okay, to really wrap your head around this, just think about your day so far, right? Every email you shot off, every YouTube rabbit hole you went down, every single Google search. Now, take that and multiply it by billions of other people doing the same thing. I mean, how on earth does a system even begin to handle that kind of pressure, day in and day out? Well, the answer, not surprisingly, is a massive, one-of-a-kind global network. But here's the kicker, the part that's really wild. For more than 10 years now, Google has basically been handing over the keys to the kingdom. They've opened up this incredible machine for anyone to use. And that's where Google Cloud Platform, or GCP as you'll hear it called, comes in. This is the service that lets you, doesn't matter if you're a solo coder with a cool idea or a massive corporation, tap into the exact same technology that powers Google's own global empire. All right, so how do you even organize something that huge? To really get GCP, we got to look at how it's physically put together. Let's start from the very foundation and work our way up. Okay, so at the very bottom, the most basic building block is something called a zone. Just think of a zone as a specific physical place, like a data center, where your app or your data is actually living and breathing. Now, let's pull the camera back a bit. You have regions. A region is just a geographic area, right? And it groups a bunch of those zones together. And all the zones inside one region, they're all connected with these ridiculously fast, low latency networks. So you can start to see how this all clicks into place. And this whole setup, it's not just for keeping things tidy. It's all about being resilient. It's about being tough. By spreading your application across a couple of different zones within a region, you're basically building in a safety net against failure. And you can even go a step further. For total peace of mind, some services let you use a multi-region setup. This means your data is safe even if an entire geographic area has a major outage. Pretty smart, right? All right, so we've got this super strong global foundation. That's great. But what do you actually build on it? Let's crack open the toolbox and see what kind of cool stuff is inside. Now, I'll be honest, when you first look at GCP, it's a lot. There are hundreds of services, and it can feel a little overwhelming. But really, it all boils down to a few key categories. You've got the essentials, right? Like computing power and storage. Then you have your networking and security tools. And then you get to the really exciting stuff, the tools for big data and artificial intelligence. It really is a complete toolkit for pretty much anything you can imagine. Let's just pull out a couple of examples here. First up, Google Kubernetes Engine, or GKE. This thing is an absolute game changer for developers. It basically automates all the messy work of managing your applications. See, your code runs in these little self-contained packages called containers. GK is like the ultimate traffic cop and manager, juggling all those containers for you, making sure your app scales up when it gets busy and just runs smoothly. You don't have to sweat the details. It just works. And then there's BigQuery. Okay, picture this. You have a mountain of data. I'm talking petabytes, which is just a ridiculously huge amount. Now imagine you can ask that mountain a really complicated question and get a brilliant answer back in like the time it takes to snap your fingers. That's BigQuery. It's mind-bogglingly fast. Okay, so we've got the foundation, we've got the toolbox, but how do you actually, use it all? And how does GCP relate to all the other stuff Google does? Let's clear that up. Well, what's cool is that GCP is built for everyone, no matter how you like to work. If you're a visual person, there's the Google Cloud Console. It's a nice, clean web interface with lots of buttons and graphs. If you're more of a keyboard warrior and you live in the command line, then the gcloud tool is going to be your best friend. And of course, for all the developers out there, there are tons of client libraries, so you can plug GCP's power right into your code in languages like Python or Node.js. Now, here's a quick but important point of clarification. You'll hear the terms Google Cloud and Google Cloud Platform thrown around, sometimes like they're the same thing. They're not, exactly. Think of Google Cloud as the giant umbrella that covers everything cloud-related from Google. That includes stuff like Google Workspace, so Gmail, Docs, all that. Google Cloud Platform, or GCP, is the specific part of that umbrella we've been talking about, the heavy-duty infrastructure, the computing, the storage, the whole shebang. Let's talk money, because that's always important, right? GCP really shook up the industry on this front. They were the first big cloud player to start billing for their virtual machines by the second. That's a huge deal. It means you're not paying for a whole minute or an hour if you only use a few seconds. You pay for exactly what you use, and those savings can really add up. And it's not just the per-second billing. GCP is packed with other ways to save money. For instance, if you run something for a long time, it just automatically gives you a discount. No forms to fill out. You can also create custom-sized virtual machines, so you're not forced to pay for more RAM or CPU than you actually need. And maybe best of all, there's a really generous free tier, so you can get in there and play around with all this stuff without spending a dime. Now, of course, GCP isn't alone in this space. The 800-pound gorilla in the room is Amazon Web Services AWS. And while AWS is the market leader right now with an absolutely enormous list of services, GCP is playing a very smart game. It's not trying to be AWS. Instead, it's leaning into what Google is famous for. Its real superpower, its secret weapon, is its strength in data, machine learning, and AI. I mean, it's the same tech that makes Google Search and YouTube so powerful. All right, let's pull back for the big picture one last time. It's worth looking at how we got here and where this whole thing is going next. I mean, look how fast this all happened. The whole thing kicked off back in 2008, but the real game-changing moments came with services like BigQuery, which basically invented the idea of serverless data analytics. No more fussing with servers, just pure analysis. And then GKE came along and completely changed the way modern applications are built and managed. It's been a wild ride. So what's next? Well, GCP is clearly placing its bets on the technologies that are going to define our future. We're talking about a huge focus on artificial intelligence and machine learning, of course, but also things like edge computing, even more advanced data analytics, and a big push on cybersecurity and making the cloud more sustainable. They're not standing still. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. It's this one simple but really powerful idea. The very same tools that run Google are now available to you. So the final question isn't really about GCP's future, it's about ours. With data, AI, and this incredible connectivity at our fingertips, what are we going to build next?